Blue Jays Central host Jamie Campbell was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia in 2021. And since then, he has continued to work, raise money for charity, and show people that you can live a full and happy life after diagnosis. Jamie is joining us in studio this morning. Great to have you here. Thanks for taking a quick break to be with us.
Good to see you again, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, nice to see you too. This is an incredible health journey you've been on in the last couple of years. Can you take us back to the start of that, 2021? How did you find out?
Well, I don't mind admitting this. I had gone in to see my physician to get an STD test.
Okay.
Because my marriage ended about 3 or 4 years earlier, and I was back in that world of being a single male, and thought I would make sure everything was fine in that respect. So when the phone rang and it was my physician, I thought to myself, do I really have something, that would be generated from an STD test? And when she told me I had leukemia,
wow,
it was a little bit surprising in a bit of a different way.
Yeah.
Shocking as well, because it's a very difficult word to hear on the telephone when you're sitting in your living room alone.
Yeah, and what kind of thoughts went through your mind at first? You've got 2 kids.
Well, I mean, I had to wrestle with the word first for several minutes. My kids were both in school. It was a middle of the week, January day. And I think the first thing that went through my mind was I never expected them to grow up fatherless, because the first thing that you consider is that maybe you're going to die at some point soon.
Right.
So it took me several days to learn that the form of leukemia that I have, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, is actually quite treatable. So I was afraid very briefly. I'm no longer afraid. And in fact, it's added this sense of wonder to my life that is very hard to describe. And I'm sure people that have cancer understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I want to ask you more about that. How has it changed your perspective? Maybe some choices that you make in life, or just how you view the world overall?
I like to tell people that I used to go for walks with my kids, and they all felt very much the same. And the first walk I went on with them after getting my diagnosis was different. I could see things differently. I felt different about it. I felt very much alive, maybe more alive than the previous journeys. And I stopped procrastinating. So I had always planned a couple of things for my kids: take them to Europe and rekindle an old family tradition and take them to the Indy 500. And last November, we were sipping hot chocolate just in the shadows of the Champs-Élysées.
Wow.
And 2 weeks ago, we went to the Indy 500. So we don't sit around and waste time anymore.
You talked about treatment, and this is a treatable form. What does treatment look like for you?
Treatment is 4 pills every morning.
Okay.
They're very potent, very powerful. I have yet to take mine this morning. They're still sitting on my kitchen table at home.
We've got free Nespresso in the back. You could take it with that.
I'm not sure I want to mix them with Nespresso, but it's a very, very, very effective treatment. And what I like to publicize for people who may be diagnosed with CLL is that I don't want you to be afraid. I want you to tune into a Blue Jays game and see a healthy, thriving, I don't call it cancer survivor, I call it cancer thriver. And there are ways to live your life and not be afraid, and there are treatments available to you. And all those years that our parents spent, walking in walks for cancer, or bikes for cancer, or runs for cancer, and what people are doing right now too, and what Terry Fox did all those years ago, all that money was invested in research, and it's paying off for people like me right now.
Wow. That's incredible. What a great message. You brought up the Jays. You asked people to go to a Jays game. Can I ask you about this season? How you feel like it's going so far?
Whew, man, buckle in, right? Like the preseason prognostications were that they would be very good and challenging for the division title. That seems a long way off, mostly due to the fact that the Tampa Bay Rays just refuse to lose. But they're having a very good season. They get on a little bit of a roll. The next thing you know, they lose 2 to the Minnesota Twins that maybe they shouldn't have lost, and then they win a game that maybe they shouldn't have won. And I think people have minor heart attacks every now and then, but that's the beauty of baseball, right? If you're not feeling emotion about it, then what are you feeling?
Of course.
Right?
You know what? I love watching you watch this, because even though you know how this game ends, and even though you've seen all of this before, you can't help but lock in with eagle eyes. Just
oh my
curious
goodness,
something.
Yeah. It's so much fun being at the Rogers Center these days too, because
the
crowds are healthy, and the team is competitive, and the players are wonderful. So it's a good scene.
And it's good to have you there. Thanks for coming in studio, sharing your journey and your
nice
positivity
to see you
with
again.
us. Yeah, good to see you too.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.